Hello everyone, I hope you all having an amazing day and I'm excited about today's topic and share some insights with you. Let's get started. So today we are going to discuss a novel by Chinua Achebe. He is a Nigerian author and the novel was written in 1957 and it was published in 1988 and the time was pre-colonial, and who does not familiar with the pre-colonial word, so it refers to a period before a region or country was colonized by a foreign power. For instance, like there's a country and no one is ruling that, like no one is foreign power is ruling that country, and the country is ruling by a local power. So that thing is considered as a pre-colonial, and if someone is ruling that country, so that thing is considered as a colonized country. And this Things Fall Apart was Chinua Achebe most popular novel, and this was the first novel written by Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe born in 16 November 1930 in Ogidi, Nigeria, and he was died in 2013 in USA. And I think now we have discussed enough information about novel and author. And now let's go to the plot. So as usual, we are going to discuss the character first for your precise understanding. So the protagonist of the story is Okonkwo. He's a 38 years old man and he's still the strongest person. And he's known for his strong muscles, and he's a kind of a rich as well. And he got the publicity when he was 18 years old, and he defeated a person, the strongest person in wrestling, when he was only 18 years old. And next character we have in this novel, Onoka. He's a dad and he's a father of a Okonkwo. And he's a well-known person for his musical qualities. But Okonkwo does not like him because they both are entirely opposite. On the other hand, Okonkwo is a hard-working person and he has a well-respect in the society. But uh, Unoka has nothing earned and he has taken a lots of that from his friend and from the neighbor as well. And he's a lazy as well, and he's not well in order to manage his household chores. Next character we have Navoy. He's Okonkwo's son, and Okonkwo feel that Navoy has also few qualities that his father had, and he's a very concerned about Navoy, that how he will be manage his future and what he will do in the future. On the other hand, Okonkwo has also a few negative qualities. For instance, he is a aggressive man and he does not treat people well who are not physically strong. And his father, Unoka, was one of them. And he's also treat his children and his wives in a brutal or aggressive way. And Okonkwo lives in that kind of a society where people appreciate the person's strength and what is the number of wife they have. And if you are able to fulfill these kind of a categories, then you would be a respected person in the society. And if you are not, so it's not matter what was the status your parents had and what you are doing. The village Umofia where Okonkwo and his family lives, and a person is making the announcement that Izaugu have something to convey with the resident of Umofia, and Okonkwo has recognized that what may happen and what would be in the speech. In the next morning, around 10,000 men gathered to hear Uzaugu. He is a very powerful narrator, and he soon informed the audience that a woman of the Umofia has been murdered by the neighboring village, Mabaino. After hearing this speech, Umofia people decided to give them an ultimatum, and as a compensation, they demand from Mabaino to hand over them a virgin woman and a young boy. Since Umofia have a reputation of being strong and they have a good army as well, so unfortunately Mabino has no option instead of following their words. So finally Mabino handed over them a virgin girl and a boy, and the girl was replaced by the murdered woman, and the boy was young and his name is Ikmefuna. He's decided to live with Okonkovo's house. Thereafter, Okonkovo hands over Ikmefuna to his second wife, who is a mother of Navoy. And Navoy and Ikmefuna are both in the same age. And Ikmefuna is entirely clueless why he was taken from his parents to this strange place, and like what was the reason, he's not sure about that. And where is that girl who was came with Ikmefuna, and Ikmefuna haven't sees that girl in his entire life. Basically, the novel Things Fall Apart is based on Igbo peoples, their culture, traditions, and custom. The author Chinua Achebe has beautifully depicted the Igbo people's way of life. As we can see, when they took revenge on Mobino, they demanded a virgin girl and a young boy as compensation for a murdered woman instead of seeking justice. In some way, the author shows how they are rigid and cruel. Now, the author takes us back to the past when Unoko was alive and Okonkovo had no resources. He borrowed 800 yam shades from a wealthy farmer and 400 shades from his father's friend for farming. Since he had taken a loan, he had to pay interest as well. He was authorized to keep one third of the crop, while the remaining portion has to be given to the farmers from who he had borrowed the loan. That year, crops fail badly since it does not rain at the right time. After that, Okonkovo had planted the first part of his seeds of yon. Instead of rain, the weather was very hot and the sun burns the seedling. After that, half of his seeds were lost. When he planted the other half after clearing the fields once again, it was excessive rains that destroy everything on that time as well. And now Okonkubu is entirely ruined, but he being a die-hard optimistic and extremely hardworking young man said to himself if he was able to survive that particular year, he would be able to survive subconsciously anytime and no one can disturb him. And guys, let you know you one thing here how Okonkovo's father had died. So Igbo people follow a superstition that if someone has a disease in their stomach or it's a swelling of the stomach, and if someone is suffering with that kind of a disease, so they leave that person in the forest to die, and Unoka was one of them. And the Igbo people feel that it's a kind of a spirit of their ancestors. And now the author takes us back in the present time where Ikmefuna grew, and it shows how he has accepted most of the things from the Okonkovo's house, and not he only become a very friendly with Navoy, even he call Navoy's father as his own. But Okonkovo doesn't even show him emotions openly because he consider a weakness in a man. And also, Kongovo finds a lots of positive changes in Navoy, and he considered to be a result of Ikmefuna's company. And where initially he considers that Navoy is also would be a lazy person like his father Onoka, but now Navoy is doing a few difficult tasks as well. Like for instance, he's helping Ikmefuna to splitting the wood and pounding foods. And Okonkwo was very glad about Navoy, and he tells both of them story about the land, and Okonkwo calls them as Abi his huts. One of these days, Ugbuizi Uzaudu comes to meet him and bring him the unhappy news that the clan has finally decided to kill Ikmifuna. He, however, wants Okonkwo not to have a hand in Okonkwo's death since the boy loves him and even calls him father. The next day, the men gather and they decided to take Ikmefona, and Okonkwo was also there. At the time of the sunset, they were reached in the midst of the jungle. Ikmefuna is entirely unfamiliar with the situation or any harm. And he is not even afraid and nervous because he knows his father Okonkwo is right behind him. So he should not worry about anything. After that, he starts thinking about his mother and his sister, as he has not seen his family since the last 3 years. And even Ikmefune is not aware if his mother is still alive or not. He was still thinking about. Then suddenly a man attack on him from back, and when he called and appeals for help to Okonkwo, Okonko himself attacks on Ikmefuna with his machete. Thereafter, Okonkwo spent his couple of days in disorient feeling since he has killed Ikmefuna. Soon after, Okonkwo's friend comes to invite him as his daughter Suta is coming to settle a bride price. And those who are unfamiliar with the bride price is a word and it's opposite of dowry, where groom pay a price to bride's family. While they are discussing the marriage of their sons, Okonkwo's friends inform Okonkwo that he should not kill Ekmefona or maybe the god might punish him for that. And they heard a few sounds from outside that some white men are visiting their area, and it was the first time when the society or people saw a white man in their area. However, Okonkwo's friend's daughter's marriage is engaged and now they are celebrating. It's a kind of a engagement ceremony, and Okonkwo is also invited. He attends with his entire family and everyone is enjoying the party. There's a plenty of wine, food, singing and dancing. Then suddenly, unfortunate news arrives. Uzeudu has died. And if you remember, Uzeudu is the same person that brings the news to Okonkwo that clan has decided to kill Ikmefuna. However, since it is a warrior funeral, many people begin firing guns as part of the ceremony. However, in a tragic accident, Uzeudu's 16 years old son is killed by Okonkwo's gun. The Igbo people consider this manslaughter, which is a serious offense in their culture. As a result, they decided to banish Okonkwo and his family for 7 years. Okonkwo and his family then go into exile.